Namaskar viewers. Now we are going to simulate Metropolitan Area Network, that is MAN network, using our simple Cisco Packet Tracer. So in order to do that, we'll first try to create one LAN with two computers and a switch, and again another LAN, we'll call that LAN 2, with two computers and with a switch. Now, in order to enable communication between the two LAN, that is LAN 1 and LAN 2, we'll try to establish the communication via routers. So let us first try to have the two end devices. So one end device is my PC, which you can name as PC0. I will have another PC. We can call that PC1. Now we can have one switch. You can have one switch. Now, in order to communicate between these three, we need to have cables. So for that, you need to go for the connections. When I go for the connection, here I will be using the straight through cable. As you can see, this is a straight through cable. So click on the computer, that is PC0, select fast Ethernet 0, and then click on switch, use the available port, which is fast Ethernet 0/1. Similarly, use another straight through cable, click on PC0, choose fast Ethernet 0, and then click on fast Ethernet 0/2, that is the port of the switch. So this makes the first LAN. Okay, now the similar technique, using the similar technique, I will again make another LAN. That is, I will be using two end devices. That is, one end device will be another PC. We will call this, say, PC 2, and again I will click another PC. I will call this, okay, I will call this PC 3. Fine. Now we will have the switch. So click on switch. Now it's the time for the connection again. So we'll be using straight through cable. Click on PC2, use fast Ethernet and connect here. In the similar manner, use straight through cable. Click on PC3, fast Ethernet 0, click on switch. So my LAN 2 has been created. So in order to communicate between the two LAN, we are actually assuming this to be a distance apart, where we cannot have a direct communication between the two switch. That is actually trying to simulate a MAN environment. So that is Metropolitan Area Network. So what we will do is we will try to have a router, and using the routers, I can just take one of the routers, place it here. I will take another router and place it here. Now I can call this router 0. I can call this router 1, or you can just keep it as it is, doesn't matter. Only thing that matters is how we establish the IPs. Okay, so now it's the time for me to establish communication between the switch and the router. So we'll have to understand one thing is, this is the router to router communication zone, and this is the router to the switch communication zone. Similarly, in this case also, this is the router and the LAN or the LAN 2 or the switch communication zone. So we'll first try to establish the physical connection. Again, we will use the straight through cable. Click on uh, the switch and then click on the router, and we will use, please listen this carefully, we'll use Giga Ethernet 0/0 in the LAN to router section. Similarly, I will take another wire or the straight through cable and click on the other switch of the LAN 2 and then click on the router. Again, I will use the Giga Ethernet 0/0. Fine. So these are the so Giga slash, as you can see, if I connect here, you can see the Giga/0 is the port which will connect to the LAN section, not only in LAN 1 or as well as the LAN 2 section also. And Giga 0/1 will be used to communicate between both the routers. So this is how we are going to establish the physical connection, and and then we'll configure the router and the other computers. Okay. So now let's have the connection between the two routers. As you can see, automatically we have Giga Ethernet 0/1. It gets connected to the 0/1 Ethernet port of the router 1. This is router 0 and this is the router 1. So we have actually now established the physical connections. Now what we need to do, we need to configure the network. So in order to configure the networks, what we will do is we'll first to try to click the computer PC 0, go to config and go to fast Ethernet. Now you have to provide the IP address. Now IP address what I'm trying to assign is 192.168.1.2, and let this be our the default subnet mask. Okay, now there we also will have to assign the gateway, but we will do that later. But now again we will try to assign the configure the PC1. Similarly, click on PC1 and then go to the config, click on the fast Ethernet under the interface, and now let's have 192.168.1. Say 3. It was 2 in the other case and now it is 3 in this case. Fine. Now we have actually configured both the PCs via the switch. Now let's move on to the other section where we will be using the PC 2, and we'll configure it. Click on it, configure the fast Ethernet. I click on the fast Ethernet. Now we will use this as a separate network. So I'll be using 192.168.2.2 and the default mask is this. And similarly, I will use the other one, that is the PC3, and here after clicking fast Ethernet, I will provide 192.168.2 dot, yes, 2.3. Okay, now this is the default subnet mask. So as you can see, the moment we do this, it's showing uh, in the simulator, in the workspace itself. You can see the connection has been established through a green link. Okay, so the LAN 1, LAN 2 are both connected, configured. Now the only part that remains is the configuration of the routers. Now we have to first configure the router in this particular section where the switch is connected to the router. So in order to do that, what we'll use is, since we have the IP addresses assigned to this, as you can see, the IP address that has been assigned is 192.168.1.2, and this is 192.168, that is 1.3. So what we'll do is we'll assign the IP, uh, that is this network IP for this particular router, which is connected to the LAN section. So we'll click on the router, we will go to config, and in the config section under the interfaces you can see Giga Ethernet 0/0. Now we all remember that Giga Ethernet 0/0 has been used uh, for the section where the router gets connected with the switch or the LAN section. So I'll click on it, and I can make this as the master 192.168.1.0. Okay, so or I can just call it 1. Okay, so here, and I can use the subnet mask 255.255.0, 255.255.255.0. Now, this section is okay. I will come to our IP, but routing information protocol, I'll come to that later. But I will first try to configure the other router also. Okay, now similarly, I'll go to the second section. I will click on the config and click on Giga Ethernet. Here I will use the other part, that is 192.168.2.1, and this is the subnet mask. Okay, so now we have configured both the routers. This router has been configured towards this, and this router has been configured towards this, but the connection between these two are yet to be established. So what I can do is I can click again on this, go to the interface. Now we all remember that the Gigabit Ethernet 0/1 is used for the section where we are going to connect router to router. So we'll click on it, and now we will provide 10.0.0.1 for this particular section, where I will be using the same default subnet mask it's given. And now again I will configure this, click on the same 0/1. Now in this case it will be 10.0.0.2. So again I will make this 255.255.255.0. Okay, now both the routers have been configured towards each other as well as towards this. Fine. Now the packet, which originates from here, if it has to travel to the other LAN, then there has to be a gateway. Now, which is the gateway? Gateway is this. So from here, it has to get out of the network and reach the other network. So in order to establish the gateway, what we can do is we can just click on the computer PC 0, go to the interfaces. As you can see, whenever you click on config, you will see that default gateway. So default gateway can be given as 192.168.1.1. Okay, so this is through which the information will go out of the network. Okay, so similarly, you can click on PC1, and again the default gateway IP is 192.168.1.1. Okay, it is same. Again, we'll recheck it. Yes, it is the same. And in this case, it will be the default gateway will be 192.168.2.1. So I can copy this and do it for this again. Fine. Okay. So this is how we configure the router to LAN section in this router to LAN section. And Okay, so in the final stages, what we need to do is we need to enable the communication between the two LANs. This is the LAN 1 and this is the LAN 2 via this routers. To enable that, we need to enable the RIP, that is the routing information protocol, which can be configured using the simple GUI that we have here. The router 0 will click on router 0. Okay, so here we will click on the router 0, and in RIP we will add in the case of router 0 we will add 192.168.1.0. We will add this, and we will also add 10.0.0.0, and in the case of router 1 we will also select the RIP and add 192.168.2.0. We will add this, and in the case of, and again we will include this, that is 10.0.0.0. So we have configured our IP. Now again, you please kindly check the interfaces. Check the port status must be on. Again, go to the Giga Ethernet 0/1, click on the port status, and similarly uh, for the other router, enable the port status. Okay, and also check the switch is enabled, and now you can see a green triangles are seen here, which means that we have properly configured the routers uh, and the computers and the LANs via the switch. Now, why do we need the RIP? What happens is the router 0 is set to advertise the 192.168.1 and 0, and the network 1.0.0.0 networks, while router 1 advertises 192.168.2.0 and 10.0.0.0. Once routing is enabled, each router will dynamically learn the path to the other LAN, and finally, each PC must have its default gateway set to the IP addresses of the respective router that we have already configured earlier. So uh, the default gateway will be this router for this particular network, and default gateway for this network will be this router. So the default gateway has to be the IP address of the network side of the router, and in this case also network side of the router. Okay, so once we have configured, what we will do right now is we'll try to ping uh, ping from this computer to this computer. Let's see what happens. So even if I ping before if I switch on the simulator, what we will see is the switches and the routers will try to configure in this fashion as seen in the simulator, and once it will keep continuously doing it, and now we will try to ping from we'll ping the PC2 from PC0. So what we can do is we'll click on PC0 and click on desktop, go to the command prompt, and now what I will do is write ping give space 192.168.2.2. This is the computer that I'm pinging, which is in the other LAN, that is this section. So what I will do right now is I will enter and wait and we'll see what happens. So in this case, initially, you can see the switch is getting configured using the echo requests, updating its table. Yes. So as per the simulation, we can see it has reached the PC2 and it is replying it back. So now if we reset the simulation, what we can see is we can see the result here. We can see there was only one packet lost, 4 packets were sent, one was lost, and the approximate round trip time in milliseconds has been given. Now once the network gets configured, we can now send the packet with minimum loss. Now we can do that using another scenario. Say PC1, I'm trying to send PC1 information from PC1 to PC3, or I'll try to ping PC3 from PC1. So what I'll do is I'll go here and now I will go to the desktop, go to the command prompt and ping 192.168.2.3. Okay, so this I'm trying to ping this particular computer. So let's do that. Once we do that, you can see the paths have already been configured. So the transmission is complete. Now you can see we had sent and we had pinged from PC1, okay, to PC3. So this is what has happened. Now what we can do is we can now select say again PC0 and we'll try to ping 192.168.2.2, oh sorry, 3. Okay, let's see what happens. Trying to get a reply from PC3. I have applied the ping command from PC0. So as you can see from the simulation, we have successfully pinged PC3 from PC0. So as the tables have already been updated both in the switch as well as in the router, so the communication becomes easy. And now we can test this again the other way around. Say suppose I want to uh, ping PC1 from PC2. Just click on PC2 and ping 192.168.1.2. Oh, sorry, I just call this 3. This was 3. So let's see what happens. Let's, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Let's do it again. Ping 192.168.1.3. Okay, so let's start the simulation. So I'm trying to ping this computer from PC2. So as you can see, it has completed. Now if I reset the simulation, I can check the results here. Yes, we can see the results here. The ping was successful. The pinging was successful. So this is how we actually try to configure a I mean MAN network, Metropolitan Area Network, where I have just considered two computers per LAN network. You can consider more as per your wish, and configure the computers in such a manner so that you can establish the communication via router to the other LAN. Always you have to, there are certain key points. You have to always configure the gateway properly. Otherwise, the communication outside the network cannot be established. Now, there is another thing you can also check that intra communication is also possible here. So to check that, I will just try to ping the PC1 from PC0. So what I will do is what I can just do is I'll just click, or say vice versa, whatever it is. So let me click on PC1, go to the command prompt and at ping 192.168. Say 1.2. Okay, so let's do it and see the simulation. You can see it's not meant for the outside network. Hence we get the reply in the network in the inside network itself. So if you reset the simulation, you can very well see the result. We have got the result. We pinged a PC0 from PC1. So we picked the PC0, and while pinging, we got the reply back. And so this is how we actually check whether the communication has been properly, whether configuration and the connections are properly done or not. So I hope this particular session was very informative regarding configuration of computers networks in MAN network. So thank you very much for watching this video.